Good evening, and thank you for joining the Voice of Many podcast with your host Yolanda and co-host Vanessa. Welcome, and we want to just say it's a small world, but it's amazing what you can do in a small world. And just to highlight that for you is our special guest that we have. She has roots in Harlem, New York. She has roots in New Jersey, but she also has roots now in North Carolina. She is a host of Let's Talk show, celebrating her 1-year anniversary.
Yeah.
And also she is a sister with a lot of history and a lot of self-pride and motivation. I bring to you Miss ReGina. Miss ReGina. Miss ReGina Smithwick.
I know that last name gets everybody. Smithwick.
I mean, those that are watching and listening, I just want to say, be ready to open your mind to a world in which she's traveled. I'm going to let you take it from there. I'm not going to get emotional, but I'm going to let you take it from there.
If it hits you, it hits you, girl. Because if it hits me, I'm letting it go. I don't Some days are over. I'm in my 50s now. You got to take me who I am. So
my goodness. You. Oh my goodness.
Don't worry.
So I'm going to jump right on in there. Let's tell everyone first about a little bit about yourself, your life story.
All right. Well, you gave a great introduction, so thank you for that. And first of all, thank you for allowing me to be on your platform this evening. I am so excited to be here. I think your concept of mother and daughter podcast is beautiful. I think that we should hopefully have more of these out here because this is a great thing. I don't see that too often. So I just want to tell you thank you for that. I am ReGina, as you said, and I am a motivational speaker. I am a podcast talk show host. I am an author of a book and 4 journals. I am a mother of 3 children. I have identical twin boys and a daughter that she's 26. My boys are 17. So I am almost an empty nester. I see the light at the end of that tunnel. And one more year. Jesus, Lord, one more year. I'm looking forward to that. I am looking forward to my next life after doing my corporate world thing. I'm, transition myself out to retirement so I could do a lot of these things. These passion projects would be actually my life afterwards. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm building that up as we speak. And one of the biggest things is I am an adopted child that I just decided to stand in my truth in the last 2 years. It's been 2020 when I decided to tell the world about it. It was a secret I would say, not of course my internal family, of course, but a secret to everybody else. I didn't tell a lot of people. I didn't tell nobody outside my immediate family that I has been adopted. We can get into that a little bit on why I did that. And I'm God's child. And I realize I am valued. I realize I am important. And I realize that I have a place in this place called the universe. And it just changed my life after I realized that, God put me here for a purpose and reason. And when I realized that, I was able to just shoot off and just get all this stuff done. So that's a little synopsis.
So when did you realize your purpose?
I realized my purpose. It was September 2019. I was actually on my way to a date. I was going on a blind date, actually. Not a blind date, I guess we call online dating. Mm-hmm. So the first time we meet, went to the date. The guy was okay, but I knew deep it wasn't a good fit, but I would just continue to try to take that square and put it into that circle peg and make it work. I wasn't valuing what I had to offer. I was just thinking that, I just need to do this because I need to be with someone, kind of thing. When I got home that evening, he gave me a call. He told me he did not want to be with me. He did not want to pursue this relationship. I was devastated. I let a person come in my life I barely knew shift my emotions to a point that I just was tired of being tired of being tired. And I just had this like mental breakdown that evening. And it wasn't just the fact that he rejected me, it was the fact of how I reacted to the rejection was the issue.
Mm.
And when I realized that I let somebody shift my mood like that and shift who I was on a rejection, it has to be something deep rooted. And I think God allowed me to have that moment of, I consider it a breakdown, but it was heading towards my breakthrough.
Mm.
And I needed to have that hitting that rock bottom to realize God talks to you all the time. And when you're not there focused and you're not getting it, it's like he's hitting you aside your head many times over. And now when you look back, you see a lot of the signs like clear as day. But that night, I was just in a place that I was able to hear him because I have nothing else. And sometimes he has to strip you and humble you to get you to a point that you'll hear him clearly. And that night in September of 2019, I heard him and I was just so, it was like so relief. I felt like it was a relief, like I didn't care no more how people thought about me. I didn't care how I thought, I just didn't care no more. When you don't care, you're willing to do things that you wouldn't do before. And I said, I got to figure out what the problem is. What is the root issue to this? Why am I doing this? And when I decided to do that, that next morning after I cried almost hours, like hours of crying because I was just so disappointed in myself. When I got up that next morning, I knew about a spiritual life coach, but I called her up that next morning. We set up an appointment, and I went through the program with her. And she really, really, I mean, she saved me. Saved me. I didn't realize who I was. I didn't realize. I never asked myself before. Like, the people don't really ask themselves, "Who are you?" You ever ask anybody that before?
Mm-mm.
Ask somebody who they are, and I guarantee they're gonna tell you either their job position, or if they're a mother, or they, whatever. It's going to be something about their, not who they are, but what they do and their titles. When I had to ask myself that, and I kind of answered the question in that same format, like, okay, I'm a mother, I'm, this, and I was like pushed back on, like, no, that's not what I asked you. I asked you, who are you?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you? And I didn't know. I couldn't answer that question. So how can I try to date or try to be a mother or try to do anything in life and don't know who you are? So how's your foundation? That's why you keep cracking. That's why you keep falling. That's why you keep letting people get at you. That's why you let somebody who reject you shift you, because you don't have a foundation, because you don't even know who you are. And when that happened, it's like a light bulb that's clicked. And I'm just like, yo, like, I just started looking around. It was like the Matrix. You ever saw the Matrix before?
Oh yeah.
When it revealed like what the real world really is,
Yeah.
it just opened my eyes to many things and many situations. I was thinking, like, I was comparing myself to people, and I started seeing like who they really were, and it wasn't what I thought it was. And you just realize that there's a bunch of us walking around here that's lost.
Yeah.
Bunch of us are walking here with, I don't like to say broken. I just think that we just don't know who we are.
True.
And we allow other people to form us. Our belief systems, our processes, the way we handle things are formed through other people and what we feel that it's supposed to be. Yeah. Not what it should be, but what we was grown to believe in. And it just opened up everything for me. So when I went through that process with her, it just made me feel like I was like, I could finally breathe and I don't care no more. And that feeling was amazing. And I still can't believe how far I came in 2 years. Like, I went all the way to 50 confused and lost. And from 50 to almost 52 this year, I have accomplished so much in this last 2 years. It's been amazing, amazing how much I accomplished because I allowed God in and I decided to do it his way and not get involved into the process. I just kind of like, God, I surrender. I'm going to do it your way. I'm going to do it your way. And when I decided to do that, and I understood the assignment, I understood what I was supposed to do, It's been amazing. Now, don't get me wrong. You're going to go through stuff. You got to learn. You got to still, your faith muscle got to be developed. You got to still learn. I still make mistakes, but I understand the assignment. So it's not as devastating as it was before. Because if something happens, you know, because I had got sick in November, I was in the hospital for 15 days. When I was in the hospital, I could have went right back to that. I thought we was doing better and I was doing what you told me to do. And, you know, look what happened. I'm in this hospital, don't know what's happening to me. They don't know what's happening to me. But I didn't even take that route. I said, God, there's a reason for this. And let me just pray and figure out why I'm here. There's a reason why I'm here. It's something you're trying to teach me in this moment. And when I start seeing life that way, I don't take things personally no more. I don't take things personally because things are not done to you, they're done for you. It's a difference. Your mindset has to change. When you change your mindset, everything in life is not gonna be as serious as you thought it was. I don't clap back at people no more. I don't have to, you know, you say something to get me upset. I don't have to show you better. I can tell you things, you know how we do. Yeah. You know, I'm gonna show you better, I can tell you, you know.
Oh yeah.
I understand now because the person that's talking to you in a certain way, they're talking to you because that's how they feel about themselves. It's not the fact that they getting mad at you and upset with you. They upset with themselves. That's why they come in at you. It's not about you. And you got to understand that when you understand stuff like that, you understand why things are happening. You don't take them the same way. So during this whole process, when I'm going through spiritual life coaching, I always tell people, if you have not seen anyone in your life, at least go one time to a life coach. You don't have to go to a therapist. I think a life coach is good because they kind of can figure you out. Do it at least once in your life because you don't know where you stand. If you keep talking to yourself, you're going to sound good after a while. You sometimes you got to go to someone else's immediate, somebody who don't have any bias, and just talk to them. Let them know what your goals and dreams are. Let them know your fears. Let them know, and maybe they can help you, you know, elevate a little bit more or give you ideas on how to handle things. You know, it's amazing how a person that when you're vulnerable and open, they can make you see life differently, and it changes you literally like that.
Yeah, so true. Yes, I've been sitting here taking notes, and it goes back to once we listen and we hear God speaking to us, then is the time for us to really pick up the book of instructions, the Bible, and really dig deeper so we can understand ourselves and know that, like you said, what we're going through, there's a purpose and a reason behind it. Going just back to Joseph, for an example, his dreams were, yes, his dreams. It was God speaking to him about what was to come. But just because the people around you aren't ready to hear, it doesn't stop you.
There you go.
You know, it doesn't stop you. We can't allow other people, like you say, to define who we are. Because we have to remember whose we are first.
There you go. God's child. I'm God's child all day.
Yes. Vanessa, I'll let you take it from there. I'm just, oh, wow. It's good.
So whenever you found your purpose, can you tell us a little bit of how that all started with your story of adoption?
Sure. So like I was saying that I didn't have a foundation. I was just existing in this universe. I didn't have a purpose. I was just floating around. And when I decided to dig deep, now, granted, now, when you do dig deep, a hit dog does holler. You're gonna have to deal with things. You're gonna have to deal with insecurities. You gotta deal with things that are not that pretty about yourself. And a lot of people don't want to. That's why they decide to continue to do what they're doing, because the instant gratification of dealing with what it is that moment seems better than digging in and going through some pain, but it's not. It's not. Like right now, you're on a hamster wheel. But if you get off the hamster wheel and just do your work it's going to pay off. It really will. And I hope that resonates with somebody tonight or today, whenever this is shown, because a lot of people think that you can't hide from yourself. You got to face yourself eventually. Eventually, you have to catch up to yourself. It's not, you can't run yourself. It doesn't work that way. So when I decided to do my work and really stand in my truth, and when I did my work with someone who trained me to kind of figure out where it stemmed from, right? So when I got to the root cause of it, I realized that I never really spoke on my adoption. So if you're lying to other people about who you are, how can you love yourself? How can you truly love yourself if you're purposely not telling someone your truth because you're worried about what they're going to say about you, or they're going to use it against you somehow? And I, as a child in 1977, decided not to say nothing after I found out I was adopted, because I saw how kids treated people who were different, you know, and I was like, you're not going to use that against me or my parents. So I'm going to not, you know, tell nobody. I took that 1977 decision and took it all the way to 2020, literally. And it really messed me up because I had abandonment issues. I had low self-esteem. I had validation issues. I had men issues. I had friendship issues. I had to be the one that I had to be the loyal one, because I got to show you that I'm here and I'm just that person for you. And I did all that to uphold these loyalty trophies. I don't know why, because it wasn't reciprocated. It wasn't given back to me. I didn't realize how much it wasn't. I was too concerned on being that person because I just didn't want, I guess I was hiding from myself, and I was trying to be this person that you wouldn't even think about even figuring out what's going on with me. You know, I didn't realize I was doing that, you know. So between all those other issues I stemmed from, it came from my adoption. So my adoption was the root cause of all my insecurities and validation issues. And when I got to that core and figured out what it was, it all lined up and made sense. Like, it was just like boom, 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 boom. It all made sense why I did everything I did. I was a people pleaser. You know, when you're hiding from yourself, you got to build your fort. You know what I'm saying? You got to build that thing around you so you can have a couple layers of things. So you don't have to your true self have to come out eventually, because adoption was not seen, especially in the 70s, as it is now. Right now, kids get adopted, you know, they have relationships with their birth families, they are still entwined with them. It wasn't like that, especially if you have a closed adoption, you don't have nothing. So when I was walking around here thinking it wasn't bothering me, it was bothering me, because I'm in a family full of people that all look alike. Like my family, they all look, even a cousin, they all have similarities and look alike. I'm the only tallest thing in my family. I'm taller than everybody. I'm taller than the men in my family. I'm taller than everybody. I'm 5'10". My family is short. My granddaddy was short. Like, I was just like, you know, and they didn't make me feel any less. My family was wonderful. My family I'm with now, my parents who raised me, I had the greatest upbringing. I was well educated, great neighborhoods, went to college, have a master's degree. They did their job. So my parents were beautiful, but I still had a void. Adopted kids still have voids. Even though the adopted parents did all they could and they gave a child a great life, there's nothing you could do to fill that void. And I filled it with validation. I filled it with low self-esteem. I filled it with people pleasing. I filled it with all this other stuff because I felt that I don't know who I am. I don't know where I came from. I don't know who I look like, where my mannerisms come from, where my voice come from, where this stuff, you know. And I never, when you don't know who you're from, and when you're blessed to kind of come out as, you know, birth through your parent, like exactly what y'all are. You know that's your mother. You know that your mother gave birth to you. You know you was in her womb. You know where you look like. You know that it's just given to you, given rights, right? When you're adopted, you don't have that given right. When you have a closed adoption, you don't know nothing, and it always bothered me, and I never talked about it, but it always bothered me because I just felt like when the adopted child don't know who you are, that's where the basis of the problem is, because you already don't know who you are, and now you got to go through this world picking up other people. Like, oh, I'm like this. I'm not. I'm like you because when you raise people, like my dad said, I fed you long enough, you know,
You're gonna look
I
like
look
him.
just like him. I look just like my father who raised me. And we're not blood related, but I look just like him. And it's so funny because it's true. You said you feed somebody long enough, you start looking like them. But I just, so to answer your question, that's what it was. It was stemmed from that adoption part. And then I started figuring out all these other issues that I was having.
So, in listening to you, you have to wonder at what point, what led you, what inspired you to just say, okay, I'm telling the world, and this is what I need to do.
When I did my work. When I did my work and knew that I was a child of God, and I knew that I had a place in this universe, and I knew that God gave me an assignment. He gave me a purpose. He gave me something that a lot of people don't have, and there's a lot of people like me out here that need this help. I knew it was bigger than me. I knew it wasn't about me. I knew that when God used you, it's not about you. It's about you helping others. And like, if they only help one person and it surpassed that already. I have so many people have reached out to me, people that I knew and grew up with, who I didn't even know that they didn't have the same parents. Like they told me afterwards, because after I did it, they felt comfortable talking to me about it. And it's like, hey, I have, my dad, they were saying that they wasn't sure it's my dad and I'm scared to go find out. Or I know I'm adopted, but I just didn't want to dishonor my adopted parents by finding my birth parents, because, and that's another myth, that you feel that you can't find them until they literally die. Like, I had people waiting for their parents to die before they go find out who their birth parents are, because they feel that you're not honoring them. But that's not how it works. You're in a situation that's very unique. Your birth parents, who, unless they adopted people too, could never tell you how it feels to be adopted. And they should never let you feel that you cannot go find where you're from, because they have the same birthright and they know where they're from. So why wouldn't they give you that same option to figure out where you're from? It's not about them. And you have to be strong enough to say, it got nothing to do with you, but you got to give me this. I have to find out where I'm from, because it's making me feel like I don't know where I'm at. Like, you can't ascribe that feeling to someone unless they're adopted. Adopted people understand. You don't even have to go through, I got you. But when you're not adopted, sometimes it's harder for you to figure things out. The best way I try to tell people to ascribe the feeling is, I got identical twin boys, okay? I gave birth to them, but I'm not a twin. I birthed them. They came through my body, and but I'm not a twin. So when they had that little twin thing going on, and they can look at each other, have full-fledged conversations, and they can feel each other's pain, and somebody hurt, the other one running in the room, what's going on, man? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, oh, he hurting. And he's like, yeah, my stomach hurt. They got it. I can't tell you. I'm not a twin. So for me to say, well, I'm going to explain it to you because I'm their mother and I birthed them. Like, but you're not a twin. So it's the same concept about being adopted. You can do but so much, unless you're an adopted person.
And I've always heard that if a child or a person is adopted, they'll always have that tendency to search for their birth parents. So,
but these days is a little different because it's easier these days. Like, you just go to Amazon, get the DNA ancestry kit, takes 6 weeks, you get your results back, you'll figure out who you are in a matter of days. Wow. It's not like it used to be back in the days. When I first started searching was in the early 2000s. I was like in my 30s, and I ended up getting pregnant with my boys. And so I didn't do it because it cost almost like $3,000 to do it back then. Because you actually remember them shows, they had the different adoption shows on TLC and different places. Well, these people actually do that in a living. Like, you could reach out to them and they would find your family for you, but they charge that much. So I was like, ooh, well, I'm about to have twins. I don't have that loot right now to do that. So I had to wait, but I felt that was God's plan I was able to find out her name and everything during that process. So that's what I got then. And then it wasn't time because my mentality, my mental capacity, everything about this topic, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. So I know it wasn't meant for me to do it then. When it happened, it was supposed to be because I had that breakdown. I had to figure out who I was. I had to go through the process. I had to do my work. Then I figured out, and then I was able to go see it worked. If I had just went in there and just did it and did what I was planning on doing, it wouldn't have worked out the same way. Because when you meet your family, a lot of times people see the credits and they go, oh, they met their family, they met their mom and their brother and sister. Honey, after the show is over, now you got to get to know them. Now you got to learn personalities. You got to learn how they operate, how they tick, how you tick. Are you going to get along? Are you going to be, just because that's hard for me. This is the part that I'm going through now. It's hard because I'm an only child. So I never had the sister brother thing going on. So first of all, I got to start with that. I never had brothers and sisters before. So how did that work? Now I have them. I got to learn them. They got to learn me. Yeah. I love you instantly because you're like you give a birth to a child. You don't know that child, but you love them instantly when they come out your womb because they're yours. I love my family instantly because that's my dad. Like my dad, soon as I met you, I love you because you're my dad. But it's backwards. I don't know him. I had to learn this man, and the way he does things and the way I do things. And we have conversations. I have it in my head how my dad raised me. I got to realize he's not that man. He's a whole different person. I can't expect him to do what my dad did. That's not his job. And I've been raised already. I'm 51 years old. His job in my life is not going to be like my other dad. His job is to kind of come in and be that we're going to be friends and we're going to build and we love each other. But, it's been 2 years now. So now we're on the part, we talk every day, but our conversations are totally different than it was with my dad. Like the things we talk about, we can talk about grown stuff now. I mean, we be talking about stuff. I didn't even talk to my dad like that. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just a different relationship. So I have to go through a lot of learning, a lot of adjusting, a lot of, sometimes I got to sit back and just let it play out because I'm very motivational. And if I see something, I'm like, but you could do it. You could do it. You could do this, that. And I get all involved in people. And sometimes I got to realize, they got to show you before you know what I'm saying? Let them kind of show you before you try to put all this on them, because sometimes you do all this work and it doesn't work because it's not where they at. Right. And I have to learn that, to leave it. And so I'll be like, oh, let me just leave it. Let them just come to me if they need me. Because I'm like, I'm your sister. I'm your sister. Because, you just know what you see and how people react, with siblings. Right. So I'm learning. I'm like, I'm your sister. I got you. But you got to calm down sometimes and be like, I'm trying to learn how to do the sibling thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's hard. It's really hard when you never have one. And then you're trying to figure out how to be a sister and how to be, I'm just learning. I'm figuring this out day by day.
Oh, my goodness.
So whenever you realized that you had developed abandonment and that you had wanted to be a people pleaser, how were you able to fix that? Especially for those who are struggling in that same position. How are you able to fix that?
Fixing it is fixing you. When you fix you, everything else kind of go in line. Like, it's not like you got to separate it out and go, well, I'm gonna work on being a people pleaser today, and then tomorrow I'm gonna work on being validated, and tomorrow it's kind of like, I'm a child of God. I'm valued. I know my value and worth now. I know that what I'm not going to be doing no more is this, and that. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of works in when you find out who you are and realize that you are valued, like you are just important to everybody else. And when you realize that, and it's not like nobody did anything to you, you just didn't value yourself. It's not like somebody was like, well, you're not this. No, I felt that way. So I kind of conducted myself as such. And it resonated to being thinking that I'm less than you. You see what I'm saying? And, you know, I used to see people more of like face wise or like face value more than who they really were inside. So if I see somebody, oh, they're pretty, they got this, they got that, they doing this, oh, they do this, it look like they got it together. And most of the people who are like that don't have it together. They do that because they don't have it together. See, I had to figure all that out. So that was like a head thing with me. I had to kind of figure out, well, just because somebody look like they got it together, you know, most cases they don't, because they camouflaging themselves with all this stuff.
Right.
So that's what made me kind of break down things and analyze things and realize in my head, like, okay, it's not what you think. It's not what you think. Like, stay in your lane. You do you. You be who you are. And whoever gets it, they get it. If they don't, it's fine. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. When I realized that, it made life easier because I wasn't trying to uphold all of this. That's the problem with a lot of us. We uphold all of this stuff that's not ours. It's not yours. It's because she don't like you. It's not yours. Like, why are you worrying about it? If she don't like you, she don't like you. Just let it go. Like, why are you gonna be mad at her because she don't like you? And we upholding all of this hatred and craziness and jealousies, and I just let it all go. I just dropped everything and let it go. And if you don't like me, then it's not meant for you to be in my life. And there's a lot of people in my life now that I noticed that they shouldn't have been in my life this long.
Yeah.
They were seasonal people. They were seasonal people. You know, I was married. I was married for 12 years. I will be honest with you. He was a seasonal person. He wasn't supposed to be I wasn't supposed to marry him because I know me now. I understand now. I didn't know that then. But as I did my work, I realized his purpose was to be in my life to show me like what love is and to be that person who said they love you and they really love you, but it's just certain things that we just didn't clash with other stuff. We were too busy being in love and not really worrying about all this other stuff. But I couldn't do that because I wasn't in that place. Because I didn't know who I was to even tell him anything. So it wasn't nobody's fault. Wow. I just didn't know who I was. I couldn't tell him how to do certain things because I didn't know what I needed for me. So how can I tell him? So it's just a situation like that. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's fault. It was just that a lot of us kind of do things and not really do our homework first. We don't pay no time and effort in us. Like our jobs, we go training for our jobs. We go to the gym and train for our bodies. We go train for all these other things. But when it comes to us, we don't ever train. We don't ever put no investment in us. We don't take no time for us. We don't do nothing for us. We just go on autopilot because we just do what our parents told us. We do what schools told us, but we never question, like, why did I do this? Why do I believe in that? Why do I believe in this religion? Or why do I believe in this? Because a lot of us was told us, well, this is what you're going to be. And we just roll with it. And we never question it. So when we finally go, well, why did I do this? And really realize, like, I don't know why I do this. Let me figure out, is this best for me or not? Or this is best for everybody else or somebody who told me I should do it. And when you start questioning yourself, you start realizing who you really are. And then you just got to be like, well, I'm sorry, this is not what I want to do anymore. So I'm not doing it. And you got to be ready for people to reject you. Because they're going to reject you because they used to putting you in a spot, in a space. And when you're not in that space anymore after you do your work, if you do your work and you're the same person you was before you did your work, you didn't do your work. Because somebody's going to reject you. Somebody's going to reject you. There's no way you can get out of this clean. There's no way. Because the people that you were or with is what you were before. So if you ain't that person no more, they're not going to understand you and they're not going to want to be with you. It's not going to be no nastiness. You just start seeing a little division. You just start seeing a little, not talking as much, you know, they evict you before you know it, you know. And that's what God does. It's supposed to happen. So let it happen. Stop trying to fight stuff. That's what I used to do because I'm loyal. I've been friends with you for 40 years, so we're gonna rock. I mean, I knew you since elementary school, so there's no way we're not gonna be friends like that no more. And I was just holding on to people because of that loyalty factor. And when I realized that they're not loyal to me, I'm just loyal to the fact of being loyal. It's not being loyal just to say, the other person's not working on this relationship. It's just me doing the work. So if I drop the ball, it's going to drop because they're not holding it up. So why am I doing it? I'm holding everything up again.
Yeah.
When I start dropping balls, you start noticing people just, and God said, well, finally, now I can bring people in your life that's going to prosper you. I could bring people in your life that's gonna make that abundance happen. I could bring people in your life that you're more mentally linked with, that you have more in common, and it's gonna grow your mind mentally, spiritually. I can't do that if you got all this white noise going on because you're not letting people go. So I had to learn to let people go because it's a cleansing and it's supposed to happen.
Right. Oh my goodness.
That's a beautiful way you put that.
Yes, I'm just I'm writing notes.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So with all of this, how did it lead to your talk show?
How did it lead to my adoption?
No, your talk show.
Oh.
On your talk show.
Okay, so so after doing my work, this doing your work made a lot of things happen with me. So after doing my work, I'm single now, and I was more of something that's told me. It was Valentine's Day time, and I was just like, I feel like a lot of women feel that they are less than because if they don't have a boyfriend or husband or fiance on Valentine's Day, they feel that something happened, something's wrong, you're not being treated right, God ain't looking, God don't want you to be happy. Like whatever your mindset is, they take it too far, and they don't realize the the blessing in the singleness, and how important singleness is. And singleness, if you're spiritual, if you believe in God, if you in your Bible, it says many parts of the Bible talks about singleness and the way singleness is supposed to be. And it's supposed to be your growth time. That's supposed to be the time you spend with him to learn. That's the time you're supposed to give to him, because what he does is he gets you to a certain point that when that person do come, y'all both is on the same equally yoke, and then y'all both could kind of, you're gonna have God in it. Because y'all both understand the process. You got God in it. Because he did your singleness, you did your singleness. Now we come together and we're going to do it the right way because we did it under what he says how it's supposed to be done. A lot of people don't take singleness as a blessing. They see it as a curse. They see it as something wrong because society tells you if you don't have someone, what's wrong with you? You must be crazy if you're this age and somebody don't want you. Well, why do I want you? What? Well, maybe I decided I don't want to be with nobody right now because I want to focus on other things right now. That's the option that we have. You know that, right? You don't have to be with people just because somebody, like, I was just like, I was so into like having a show about that because we live in a commercialization. Like the world is basically a big commercial. We live in a big commercial.
Right.
Okay. Just like that movie Jim Carrey did. It's, you really look at that movie, it's a big commercial. Jared, Kay, the whole crew need to make their money. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care how they don't care nothing about you. They just trying to sell rings. And when you get all wrapped up into that world, it's going to make you feel less than because you think because somebody didn't propose to you, social media during this time of the year, you flip through social media, everybody's getting engaged and everybody's doing this and everybody getting these gifts and that's great. Don't get me wrong. That is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been married. I got you. I totally got it. And I'm going to be married again. And I want that stuff too. But at what cost? At what cost? Do you want the stuff or you really want a real relationship that you just get the bonuses of it and getting the stuff? See, you got to put yourself in you got perspective here. Like, let's talk about that. Like, so when I did the show stemmed from Valentine's Day, just to let women know you are somebody on the 13th, 14th, and the 15th. Don't get so wrapped up and don't let it. There's a lot of insecure women out here. It's gonna make you feel bad because they got stuff like, girl, you're not a man. Girl, don't get wrapped up into that because you don't know where everybody's house is going. You don't know what's going behind these doors. Don't get wrapped up into that. If God's telling you it's your singleness time, take advantage of it. This is the time of your life. You can do anything you want to do. You could be whoever you want to be. Take advantage of it because when that time goes away, I'm telling you, I live both sides. I live single and I've been married. I'm telling you, you want this time to be able to do this development stages. Right. So when you get there, you'll be ready for it, you're prepared for it, and you can really embrace it They don't want you to, they, you know, the world wants you to just jump on everything because they just, you know, that's the way the world taxes work that way. You gotta think about it now. It's a lot of things that benefits couples now because it works in the system. It works the system better. You know what I'm saying? So you got to do it for the right reasons. Do not do it because everybody's making you feel you have to do it.
And don't allow Facebook to manipulate you.
Or Instagram.
Right.
Yeah.
Instagram, any of the social media. Like I promote it because, like I said, I want to be there again. I claim it. I'm going to be married again. I'm not even worrying about it. But I know that it's going to be done godly way. It's going to be the Christian way. It's going to be done the right way. And I know that God promised me this. So I'm not worried about it. And I'm not going to let the world dictate or how it's going to be. If it's going to be at 55 or 60, it will be.
Yeah.
But when you're worrying about it because the world's telling you that you got to be married, I mean, everyone from your relatives, they're like, girl, when you going to get married? Girl, you want to get married? Then you get married. When you going to get the kids? When you going to get the kids? like, it's not on their schedule. It's not on their schedule. And then when you do the stuff they tell you to do when it don't work out, girl, ooh, you're a divorce girl, what happened? I did what you told me to do.
Oh my God. Oh yeah.
You have to do what's right for you. And you gotta do what's right what God has said and ordained in your life. You cannot just do what people in commercials tell you. Don't get wrapped up into that, y'all. It's not that serious. It really is not. So I mean, that's where the show stemmed from, right? That day. And then after that day, we started doing other topics and other things. And before you know it, years gone, and we done everything from relationships to money, to friendships, to we done everything. So it's been a beautiful platform, and people are learning. And just like y'all do, I'll be sitting there like, okay, what you say? Okay.
I got my notes.
I'll be writing them notes. I'm not here to be a dictator. I'm learning just like y'all. I had so many reservations on my show. I'm like, wait a minute. So you telling me that I was what? Wow.
I thought we were the only ones that do that.
No, girl, I stopped the whole show like, wait a minute. So you're telling me that I have been this type of person all this time and I didn't know it?
Yeah. I mean, and people don't realize this is like, for us, it's therapy. I mean, because you learn so much talking together. I mean, but you also have to listen too. I mean, and just listening to your story, anyone who has a twinkling that maybe I was adopted, maybe I do need to see a spiritual coach. I mean, now is the time. Don't wait. And that's what we do, especially people of color. We are really afraid about telling anybody our business that has on a white jacket because, you know, we say, oh, we don't do that. But they're there to help us for a reason. And if we don't want to go to a professional, there is some person in your church, in your community that you can go to. Remember, we used to have a big mama. Everybody had a big mama. Big mama, she not just cooked, she was a listener, you know, and you could go and talk to her and tell her things. You don't have to worry about nobody else telling. No one else, you know, finding out anything. I mean, so we really need to get back to the concept of bettering ourselves and how do we do it? And once we do those stages, like you said, how are we going to grow from it? How are we going to change? So, I mean,
you got to invest in yourself, right?
Yes.
You got to invest in yourself, you know, and think about it. We would spend money on a coach bag faster than spending money on going to a life coach for our own selves.
Right.
And half of the time you wouldn't buy the coach bag if you really go to these people, because you'll realize you don't need all this stuff to impress anyone. And that money need to be an investment, and you need to have that for retirement, or you need to invest it into your own business, or invest it into whatever you want to do, invest it into the stock market, whatever it is. A lot of things that we spend money on is because we are not happy who we are. It's not just because you want stuff.
It's what's been portrayed.
You need to spend it on yourself, and I guarantee you'll change the way you do things in life. You will.
So tell us about your book.
Adoption, the unknown blessing is this my journey about my adoption, on exactly how it went from the day I broke down, I told you about at the beginning of this, all the way to my breakthrough, to meeting my adopted family, my birth family, and how that worked out. And it just tells you how my birth mother passed away in 2007, so I didn't get a chance to meet her. But I had to deal with that going into this, and that's one thing you deal with as an adopted child looking for your parents. You got to be ready for everything. Sometimes you may get one who passed away, sometimes both of them have passed away. Sometimes you get both of them alive. You don't know what you're going to get, so you got to be ready to hear everything. And so when I heard that she passed away already, I just knew that that was his plan. It wasn't meant for me to meet her. It was meant for me to live by, because she named me ReGina. My birth mother named me ReGina, but my adopted mother said that she would keep it because she said I look like a ReGina. And then she said, I want you to have a line to your birth mother.
That's nice.
So she named me ReGina, and that means queen. So when I was actually laying on the floor that night crying, I just thought about her and I said, you did something. You started me off right by naming me queen. And I needed to start acting like one. And I need to do that to honor you. Because those 3 days that you had me in that hospital, and knowing that she was a God-fearing woman, and I know that she prayed with me, she sung with me, I know from what I learned about her, I could have an idea of what she was doing with me those 3 days. And I know that she named me that name and she thought about it. And that's what it meant. Like, I got to start living up to what my mother started me in this world with, is being a queen. And I realized I was not conducting myself as such. So when I decided to do what she asked me to do and what God gave her the name to give me, then my life has changed since then. So, but that's what my book's about. It's about my adoption.
Wow. Powerful.
So how can our viewers and listeners have an opportunity of listening and watching you on your talk show?
Yes, Let's Talk. So everything's gonna be straight. Let's Talk 1943. So it's very easy. So my talk show is called Let's Talk 1943. The 1943 stands for my dad's birthday. My dad, who raised me, Hildred Smithwick, he passed away in 2012. It's been 10 years this year. And I just want to give him his homage. So I just gave him his birth year. So 1943. So that's the talk show. I'm on Facebook. So if you go to my channel, it's the same thing, Let's Talk 1943 on YouTube. You can subscribe to my channel and see all the episodes. I am live on Facebook under my page. Same thing, Let's Talk 1943. My book, Adoption, The Unknown Blessing, is on Amazon. So it's Adoption, The Unknown Blessing. And I have journals actually too. I have a workshop starting March 1st. And it's called Wring Out Your Sponge. And I have a journal for it. It was like a workbook journal. And we're going to be doing the workshop for 4 Tuesdays in the month of March for 1 hour. And we got great motivational speakers. We have great moderators. We got people that's going to help you get that journal done and kind of get all these insecurities, validations, wring them out. Because anything with a sponge, it's absorbed. And if you can't bring more in, it's going to roll off. So we got to get all that stuff out, wring it out, so we can give you new processes, new ideas, and new belief systems. So that's what we call wring out your sponge. We're going to wring it out and then absorb it with new. So that, and the workshop is on March 1st, but if you can't do the workshop, you always get the journal, and the journal itself, it shows you exactly what to do to fill out the journal. So, but that's everything I have going on right now.
Well, Miss ReGina, we want to thank you so much for being with us and sharing your story. It was a very powerful story and journey that you've been through.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really honored. I don't take it for granted, because you could have anyone on the show and you had chose me. So I want to thank y'all both, Yolanda and Vanessa. Thank you so much.
You're a true blessing. And I'm really saying it because just taking back what your mom named you as for ReGina, going back to just listening how you went through the dating. You went through so much in your life. And at this moment, you're there as a proud queen, sister. You are there as a proud queen, you know.
Yeah.
Hats off
Thank
to
you.
you.
Thank you so much.
And to our viewers and listeners, if you don't know, please follow us on our social media web pages. Please also don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And also, we don't want you to miss out on any of our special guests and group topics. And we want to thank you for tuning in. And we will make sure we have all of Miss Regina's information ready for you as well, so you can get in touch with her and also watch her great show.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.